The first thing that can seem pretty confusing when trying to use a software like Burp Suite is actually setting up your browser to forward requests to Burp Suite itself. Okay, I had this confusion a lot of times when I was trying to do it, a couple of years back. But recently, I was visiting the topic through course by Tyler Ramsby. Amazing guy, shout out to him. And his course was Foundations of Web App Pen Testing. So when I was going through it, I had this question to myself. I had a lot of questions, so we'll be discussing them in the video. But I wanted to understand this on a conceptual level, like how things work in the back end, so that it doesn't feel like I'm blindly following the instructions, but I'm also understanding what's actually going on. So, just like the questions that I had, I'll be structuring this video and, we'll be asking questions, we'll be answering them. And if you have any other further additional questions or any kind of advice that you'd like to add, please let me know down in the comments below. The first question that came into my mind while trying to set up Burp Suite is why do we visit localhost port 8080 to get the Burp CA certificate? In case you're doing this for the first time, I would highly recommend that you first go through some kind of a tutorial. Okay. Just follow the steps, see how it's done, and then you can visit this video of mine to try and understand why we did things the way we did. So the first question, just like I said, was there's a part in which you have to install Burp's CA certificate in order to allow your browser to trust that the connections are going to Burp Suite and not to any random man in the middle. Okay, so what we do is we visit the local host IP address, which is 127.0.0.1 and port 8080. The first question was, why do we do it? The answer was pretty simple. See, when Burp Suite starts, it creates something called a proxy listener. Okay, we'll be discussing on what a proxy listener actually is. But for now, let's just see it like this. Whenever we start Burp Suite, it tells the operating system that whatever connections, right, will come on to localhost and port 8080 by default, every single one of those connections have to be forwarded to Burp Suite. Okay, so Burp is acting like a local server waiting for requests. So whenever the browser opens 127.0.0.1 port 8080, the request goes directly to Burp and Burp responds with a built-in page that allows downloading the Burp's CA certificate, which you can then download and install onto your browser. And just like we discussed, this certificate is required so Burp can intercept HTTPS traffic. The next question that comes onto our mind is, what if Burp is not running? If nothing is running or nothing is listening on port 8080 and you visit the same address, you will see errors like connection refused or site cannot be reached. This reason is simple. It's because no program has opened that port. Right? Ports are essentially like doors opened by programs, and only one program can use one port at a time. If no program is using a port, if no program opens the door, no one can connect. The next question we finally get is, what exactly is a proxy listener that we've been talking about? Conceptually, it behaves like whenever you open Burp Suite or any other similar applications like Caido, it tells the operating system that on port 8080, I'll be sitting and waiting for a connection that comes in. Whenever connection or whenever request is directed towards localhost port 8080, Burp Suite or any other program will accept that connection. It will process the request and then it will do whatever. It can forward it, it can change it, store it, whatever you want to do with it. So Burp is essentially acting like a local server waiting for traffic from the browser. Now, how can you confirm that the listener actually exists? Right. So this is something that's an extra step. You don't have to do it, but you can just watch as we do it on our screen. So this command that's now listed on your screen will essentially get us information on the process that's running on port 8080. The example output is something that you see on your screen, and let's interpret what it actually means. So the first part that you see is listen, which means that the socket is waiting for incoming connections. The second part with the numbers, which is 0 and 50, is something that means that 0 is the number of current pending connections, okay, which are pending to be processed by Burp Suite, and 50 is the maximum queue size. So there cannot be an unlimited number of incoming connections. The maximum size would be 50. 127.0.0.1 is the localhost IP address, and 88 is the port that it's listening on. We see Java because Burp Suite is essentially built on Java, and then you have the process ID for the same. So this confirms that the proxy listener actually exists. The next question that we get is, how does the request flow actually works? But before that, in case you haven't visited or haven't set up Burp yet, my just to simplify this for you, I'll try to explain it briefly how we actually set Burp up, and then we'll go through the request flow as well. So see, Burp is essentially a middleman that we use to capture the traffic from our browsers and to be able to view it and then to forward it, right? Or change it as per your needs. Now, how will Burp know, or how will your browser know which request to forward to Burp? So this is the important part. We'll be configuring an extension called Proxy or any other extension that the walkthrough or the video is taking you. And we'll be doing this so that your browser knows which request to forward onto Burp Suite for inspection or modification. Okay, because your browser won't automatically know that the requests have to now go through Burp Suite. Burp Suite is just a listener. Okay, it itself cannot capture the traffic that is going on between your browser and the internet. So once you've set up this specific extension or the tool that you're using, you also now need to set up a CA certificate, which was the first thing that we discussed in this video. And you need to do it, so that your browser knows that the requests are not going to a random middle in the man, but it is going to a software which the browser is configured to be able to trust. So once you've done this, the request flow becomes a little bit easier to understand. So what's essentially happening is when you put in a request on a browser and the extension or the Foxy proxy extension is active, the request will not go directly to the web server. It will first go to Burp Suite. The Burp proxy listener is always listening for incoming connections at port 8080. So you will be seeing it in your intercept tab. You can forward the request just as it is or modify based on whatever your needs are. And then the request will go onto the internet. The internet will send a response and then it will be rendered onto your browser. So the next question is something that's an extra step as well because it's a rare scenario. So what happens if another tool is already using port 8080? Let's say if you are using another program such as Caido, by the way, shout out to Caido, it's an amazing program. I'll link a video which I first used to understand how Caido works, and it's pretty great to use. Now, coming back to the original question, if Kaido is already listening on port 8080, Burp cannot use the same port. Just like we discussed before, a port is a door that only one program can bind to at a time. Okay, so let's say if you're already running Kaido, you start Burp after it, okay, and your proxy is active on your browser as well. Whenever you send a request to the browser, it will now appear on Kaido and not on Burp. Let's say in any specific scenario, if you want to use both simultaneously, you'll have to activate or you'll have to change the port that is the proxy listener port on Burp Suite. You can simply do that by just visiting proxy settings and changing the port to something like 8081 or 8082, whatever you feel like. And now what you also have to do is you'll have to go to your browser and inside the extension, such as Foxy proxy that we normally use, you'll have to set up another proxy. But now it has to be set up to listen on port 8081 or 8082, whatever you're using, so that the request can now go to Burp and not to Kaido. Then you can obviously use them, parallelly. Some web requests from one web page are going to Kaido, and another one from another web page are going to Burp. You can do that definitely, but you'll have to configure the ports correctly, otherwise it will fail to work. So, in this video, I just wanted to cover these basic questions that came to my mind, and hopefully, if you have set up Burp, before, and you might have had these questions, hopefully it was able to answer you. If you have any other questions that you might like to ask, even if I don't know the answers, I'll try to research and come up with an answer to it. So please let me know down in the comments what do you think about. Again, shout out to Tyler Ramsby, great guy. I mean, I'm currently following his course on Foundations of Web Pen Testing. You can go check it out. He also has a video that's like an hour preview of the course. I think he goes over the burp part as well. So you can go watch it. But yeah, I'll be placing down all the links to some great resources down in the description so you can go check it out. And yeah, till then, I wish you have a great day. Bye bye.